Hello, everyone. This is Becoming Aligned, Episode 2. And today, we're going to be talking about something very fundamental. And this episode is going to be called That You Create Your Reality. Because you do. So, one of the problems with this understanding is that people think, when you talk about you create your reality, people think you're talking about physical, actual reality. But that's not necessarily what I'm talking about. I'm talking about yourself, your actual reality, your mind reality, which is what I call it, which is basically all of the thoughts and emotions that you have. Most of the emotions that you have. And so it's about realizing this and understanding this. This doesn't mean you create physical reality as in, I'm going to attract money and this is just going to happen in my life in some way. It's more about how you are literally creating, or if not necessarily creating, then you are, if not creating, then you are keeping in place something like anger or depression. And I'm going to be going into how you do that in the next episode of this series. But you do create your reality. And there's many, 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 many ways of seeing this. One of them has to do with judgments themselves. What do judgments do to you in your emotional state? What do they do for the most part? They make you angry? Do they make you calm? What happens if you decide to think a different thought? Think a calming thought that calms you down more. Like, those people are annoying versus, maybe my interpretation is, misleading me. Something like this. So in this sense, you literally create your own reality. And in this episode, I'm going to be showing you how to change this. In the next episode, I'm going to be showing you how to completely let go of these things, because that's really the important part in a lot of ways. But it's more about becoming aware. Becoming aware of the first fundamental understanding that the only two things that exist is love and fear, and how fear is connected to love. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can watch that episode. It's on this channel. And in the same way, when you create your reality, it's from these same modalities, from these same ways of love and fear. So the ego itself is usually going from a fear-based understanding. It's more about survival. It's more about being safe. Survival, by the way, doesn't necessarily mean physical survival. It means survival of your identity, your understanding of things, your judgments, your beliefs, whatever it is. Whatever you're surviving. Maybe somebody's threatening your belief system. So in order for you to survive this, you have to attack it or protect your own belief system that they're trying to attack. And so it's more about survival of the other person's attack of your belief system. And so in this way, you are creating your reality or keeping it in place. Like I said, I'm going to be going into how this works in the next episode of this series. So how do you change this? Because it's one thing to understand this even. And I'm going to be making a series in the future about how you go into this, how you do this more in depth. Because that's, one of the interesting things about this understanding and this teaching is that, people can understand this intellectually, but if they don't actually see this in their own lives, they don't really get a whole lot of benefit from this. And so for the next week or so, I want you to observe all of the thoughts that you have about yourself, about reality, about what's going on, whatever it is, about somebody else. So why would I want you to observe all your thoughts that about yourself, about reality, about other people, about whatever it is? Because that is you creating reality right there. All those thoughts that you're having are creating reality. And this exercise that I'm giving you here is going to be able to change this. So the exercise is this: become aware of the thought. So if the thought is, negative, like, oh, this person did something to me, and then you list whatever the thing is, name this thought. Just know the thought exists. Know whatever the thought is. Become aware of the thought, basically. Whatever the thought is, right? And so the second level is to think of how you could change this around. So instead of saying it in a very moralistic sense, like, oh, this person did this to me, as if it was a bad thing, think of it as in, well, this person did this thing to me. Maybe he didn't mean it in the way that I thought he did. Or maybe it was a mistake, or maybe he, regretted it later, or maybe I'm just overreacting to the situation. Or maybe I'm ascribing some meaning to this that actually isn't necessarily within whatever this person did. For instance, if this person did something to you, and that's considered to be a bad thing to you, sure, the person might have done something to you, but you calling it bad, what you thinking of it as bad, is the meaning that you're giving this thing. And so this is what I'm talking about. So many people have this idea. It's really interesting, and I get it. I really do. It's interesting, though. But a lot of people have this idea that, oh, I have no choice about things. And I'm just sitting there going, yeah, you do. And they're like, but I might lose my job if I don't do whatever this is. And I'm like, yeah, that's true, but you still have a choice. You can still, lose your job. You lose your job. You can still become homeless, and or live in a smaller house. I mean, it's not that complicated. It's only complicated and stressful because we make it this way. Now, I'm not saying that you should quit your job and just become homeless. I'm just saying that your mind makes things harder than it has to be. So this is the second level is thinking of a way of changing this thought. Now, this doesn't usually have to take very long, like 10, 15, 20 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, at most probably 5 or 10 minutes, depending on how stuck you are in whatever this thing is. And if you are really stuck, this won't necessarily work as well. One piece of advice I'll give on this matter is, if you are sad, because one of the problems that I have with affirmations is that if you don't really believe the affirmation, it's not really going to do you a whole lot of good, and so you're just going to be saying something even though you know it's not true. So if you're sad and your affirmation is, oh, I'm happy, I'm really happy today, that's not really going to help you at all. And so what we're actually looking for is for you to actually come up with something that's believable, but also something that is a little bit higher of a vibration than the words that you're using. So say you're saying something like, I'm sad. So try and find something that you can believe in that's actually true. Like, okay, so maybe I'm sad today, but emotions do pass, and so maybe tomorrow I'll be happy, or maybe, the sadness can teach me something about my mind that will make me wiser and stronger for the next time this happens. Something like this. And so you're not actually just repeating the same thought in your head. You're actually using this idea, this thought that you have, and changing it around to fit whatever you want it to fit, whatever you believe is going to be accurate. And so you're not just going against yourself. So, anyways, check some time it is. So we've reached about 10 minutes here. This is Becoming Aligned episode 2. If you haven't seen episode 1, I recommend you see that one, because that one gives you a lot of information about these two modalities of fear and love. And I'm going to go more into this in other episodes. And eventually I do want to make a full series dedicated to this idea about you creating your reality and how you do this and how to let go of it. I'm going to be making an episode next week about how to let go of your current reality and why your reality is still in place. So, just like last week, I want you to observe these things within yourself. I want you to observe your thoughts and see what they actually do to you, and see if you change what happens when you change these thoughts to something that you can actually believe in, but that's a little bit more positive or helpful than the original thought, and see what that actually does to your state of mind and your emotions. And that's how you start to understand this idea that you create your reality more fully. So this is Becoming Aligned, and I'll talk to you in the next episode of the series.